All right, so I'm the metrologist. I'm the support team for these, I was going to say guys, but that's the collective guys from Martha that includes you, okay, for these guys. Okay, they're the MDs. They've got a tough job. David mentioned a lot about testing, evaluations. So we're going to talk about that. I looked at the CDC website, and I've heard Dr. Berger speak before, and they all say, avoid the toxins. I went to the CDC website, and it says, just keep the toxins out. And how are we supposed to do that? Okay. I will show you some data in a second, which is going to horrify you. All right? So we need to be able to provide people like Dr. Berger, okay, and Martha and other MDs with the ability to help you do that. So let me show you some of the things. So we decided to go to get the drugs there. We tested over 50 to 100 of these. I am going to tell you only one manufacturer. All the rest will remain secret today. And only because we have a success. And that one I'll tell you about, but I'm not going to tell you about all the failures. So we look for chrome 3, chrome 6. We look for mercury and lead and uranium. Yes, uranium. Okay. This is a current prenatal supplement. These are like, there's 13 of them, 13 of them here. This company, and this is log scale. What does log scale mean? Log scale means this goes up by 10 more. Okay, so this is, because I couldn't put these would be up here if I did it on a linear scale. This is Proposition 65, what's allowed in California. I'm not going to get into all of that because I've looked at the CDC, I've looked at the World Health Organization, I've looked at all these others, EPA. I'm just going to use this one. Now, what are we doing at roughly 1.5 orders of magnitude up here in a prenatal vitamin, okay, for heaven's sakes? This is ridiculous. This is lead. This is cadmium, okay? All of these, not a single one, okay, would be legal to sell in California, all right? Prenatal, this is not the normal vitamin. The normal vitamins were better than this. I could tell this particular company has 2 factories, and this one factory that does the prenatal is out of control. I don't know where they're getting this stuff, off the floor? Uranium, what are we doing with uranium, okay, at this, 2 orders of magnitude above what it's allowed to have in it, in a prenatal vitamin? This makes no sense to me. How are you going to work, David? What are you going to recommend? Okay, aluminum. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's switch. Now, this, for example, shows you things that you use. Here's a calcium supplement, magnesium, zinc supplement, a multivitamin. Okay, essential fatty acid supplement. They're in different colors. Okay. Here's uranium. Okay, tin, lead, cadmium, chromium. Arsenic, for heaven's sake, arsenic, it's out here somewhere, okay? This scared the crap out of me. Now, I got called in to do this because my children are now being treated, because the autistic children are still being treated by the doctors, right? So I said, how can I be looking for these things in their blood when you're giving them to them, okay? Well, we don't actually use any of those, okay? The only company I will tell you is this one. We've been working for 2 years with them, and yeah, it was the screensaver when we started, okay? And a lot of hard work went into this, okay? So that you don't have that stuff in the supplements. You can't have it there. So I don't want to hear from the supplement company, oh, it can't be done. I've heard that. Oh, billions of products, we can't test them all. Why not? The question that I'm asked to consider is, why preconception? Why is this important, and how does this affect what I do, and how do I see this particular conference, its importance and its mission to some degree? And all I can say is, as a scientist, I'm a hardcore analytical chemist, analytical biochemistry, bioanalytical. The data that we're producing right now points completely towards the fact that we don't need to be in a situation. We don't need to have a continually asymptotic climbing population of affected children, children which are damaged coming out of the womb or damaged in the first few years of life because they've been cellularly damaged. We're not meant to have that happen. We can reverse it, we can stop it, we can prevent it, and nothing is more important. Rather than having to fix the problem, as my grandmother always said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we don't have the problem, we won't have to fix it. The scientific data that we're producing gives us the means to evaluate and to determine what some of the problems are, and then to reverse them and prevent them. So prevention is probably the most important thing we can do, rather than trying to fix it after it's happened. Thank you.
The Preconception to Infancy program holds out the promise that a couple can go ahead and count on having a healthy baby, free of disease and free of problems. This appears like an unusual notion because for most people, the concern with what can happen with miscarriage, which is 25%, with preterm babies, which are 12%, seem to be things that are at random. What we have reviewed at the forum is the science is conclusive that when these things happen, there is a biochemical reason for it. Those have been greatly influenced by a world flooded with toxins and a world where the nutritional value of food has been sharply eroded. What we're looking at is creating an understanding based on evidentiary science that if you put these factors together, that what you'll be looking at is a tremendous difference in the outcome of the child. In order to do that, we really have to mobilize different parts of the community, not just the medical world, but also be able to go directly to the public to have them understand what they need from the medical profession, what they need from the food industry, and frankly, what they need from our government to protect them from the toxicity that they're now finding in both food and in supplements and the air they breathe. The consequences for not doing this is that the economic foundation of our very country will be eroded. There'll be a greater number of children that will be taken out of the workforce and will need to be cared for. An example is the ever-rising number of children with autism. It's just not a human calamity. It's the fact that it costs each child $3 million to have a sense of lifetime care from the condition that they have. The average preterm birth is a $50,000 medical event. Since in this country we spend 75% of all of our medical costs on the last 3 years of life and 80% on chronic illnesses, would it not be better to devote the resources to go ahead and prevent all of these problems with chronic disease in the first place and not have the burden of the care that these children can become productive members? The other part of what we're trying to do is not just preventing these conditions, but it's being able to have a couple allow the child to reach its full potential. Should the IQ be 125 points? Should that child be a famous scientist? These inherent rights of the unborn can be taken away by not paying attention to proper care during preconception and infancy. When we see preconception, it's because if we do not start 2 or 3 months before the birth, the damage by the time pregnancy will be discovered can be partially already done and done permanently. So there'll be a lot of information coming out, and we intend to do it with a sense of intensity and integrity that the forum has been known for doing its other projects.